Hello and welcome to the August edition of That Saints podcast. I'm Graham Cunliffe and we are a bit thin on the ground tonight with AD, Gaz and Paul on holiday in warmer, sunnier climes. We're stuck here providing the entertainment. And what a month July was. I've never sworn, to my knowledge, on our podcasts over the last 7-8 years, but fucking hell, what a month July was.
We're not live, are we?
We got with us Steve Beechy on the buttons, and I'll be giving us some wisdom tonight. Evening, Steve.
Good evening, Graham. I've got to say, well, at the end of this month, obviously we've seen all the results that have come, and I thought, this podcast is going to be a blinder. Not that we struggle about things to say, but I thought, oh my God, yeah.
Who else is with us? Well, Paul Rigby's back. How are you doing, Paul?
Darren.
Oh, God.
I've done it again.
We shouldn't have got the twins in, should we?
I don't even look like him. He's tall and lanky. Yeah, I'm good. Cheers.
I'm returning from a month off. Steve Orphan, how are you, mate?
Hello, you all right? Not too bad myself, yeah. Just the one show off.
Well,
you make it sound like a whole month. I was just like doing nothing.
We're not seeing you for 8 weeks.
Yeah, well, one of you was missing on holiday the month before, if you remember rightly.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. That was
when it was winning, and then he goes on holiday. What happens then?
That's my fault, is it? Well, I thought we'd do a little bit different this week. I've been surfing social media, having a good look round at the Saints fan sites and seeing what's going on, and I've got a number of topics to discuss. I noticed on our friends at Red V have been running a column about Wellens in or out, or Wellens, let's give him some support, and it's pretty mixed, and it's mixed not on the better side for Wello, I'm afraid. Let's just declare my position on this. If we lost at Hull, it might have been a different show today, but I'm not one for throwing the baby out with the bathwater all the time, and I think in a big professional sport it's not necessarily the best thing to do in the middle of a season. But there's a lot of pressure, a lot of ifs and buts. My original position, and I've always said this, is that I would have preferred Well to have gone elsewhere before he got the job at Saints. Got some experience, not in the Saints family, as it were, so that when things do go awry and shit happens, as it were, we can got a bit more experience to deal with it. So I'm not happy the way things are going, and we'll discuss other issues in relation to style of play, recruitment, discipline, etc., as we go along. But I am borderline. Let him stay and let's make it work. What are your thoughts, lads, in this situation? I know you've not come out yet, Steve, on this.
I haven't come out yet. No, I haven't called for him to go. If that's what you mean, as yet. But having said that, I've got extreme doubts about whether he is the answer long term to the coaching situation, because it has been, until Saturday's game against Hull, it has been fairly diabolical. Let's be honest, it's not been great, has it?
No.
The Castleford game was like I thought that was a low, and then the league game came along and made it look good. So it's not been great, and a lot of it is, I think, tactical. They're too conservative, and on the in mitigation, there's been a lot of injuries, especially in the pack, which is very important. Likes of Morgan Knowles, Alex Walmsley, and they're very important to what Saints do, how Saints play.
It's more important to Saints than the injuries.
And then you add that to a lack of pace that we already had in the backs, which is exacerbated by the fact that the people who haven't got any pace are injured. So you bring in youngsters who might have a bit more pace, but they've got naivety and lack of experience.
Yeah.
It's a recipe for a bit of a struggle, and that's what it's been.
Steve?
Just
on the Wello point, on the coaching side of things, before we discuss other stuff.
Yeah. What Steve said with regards to give him a chance. If you look at if you take the results out of it, sort of thing, we've been playing this, sort of what we call it. It's not our style, is it? It's not entertaining, and suddenly we're not getting the results big, and we're still playing that way. Yeah, and I look at it this way, that where we are and the games that we've lost, we're still in a relatively good position. I think we've been spoiled over the last 4 or 5 years or so. Well, even longer than that to a certain degree. And I think you've got to give him a chance. He is a new coach, And I think they will give him a chance. I don't think for one moment they'll get rid of him before the end of the season. Obviously, with the IMG stuff knocking around as well. And if the rumours are true, Lee Breers is coming in, to help next season, then I would look at the very least, I would say he's going to get next season and see how things go with, if things change there. It's the old thing where, we know, what it was like way back when Wigan were dominating everything and absolutely giving us a cane and giving everybody else. And, we knew what it was like then. But it's not as if we're in a relegation fight or anything like that. So it's not the end of the world. For me, I say he stays. It's taking the sort of emotion out of the thing as a whole, because that's what it is. And at the end of the day as well, it's a business, and that salary cap sport. We've got all these injuries. We can't. Even if we had the money, even if they'd allowed us, we can't go out and buy anybody because, obviously our cap's spent. The youngsters who have come in, they're good, but like Steve said, they're good from an academy point of view. They've come in, but then you're up against, men. You're up against, you've not got the experience, and I think that's what it is. You find they're doing wrong. Then there was a time I think we were discussing beforehand where we whinged about that move that went from it went from Johnny Lomax through to Wellesby and through to Workings, and you thought, everybody can read that. Do you know what? We don't even try that now. And I think it's the fear, and you've got obviously capitalising on things now is obviously Wellesby's out, so it's only going to have more pressure. Wellens stays for me.
Darren, your thoughts on this particularly?
Yeah, I think, to be fair, Wellens I don't think is going anywhere. So I think the club will stick by him. But when Wellens came in, everybody said, it's going to be another Cunningham, too soon, etc., etc. But I think we do have to give him time.
Do we have to give him more time because of that situation?
I'd certainly give him until, I'd say, probably April next year to May, see how we start the season, because for me now, I think with the injury crisis that we've got, I can't see us being anywhere near grand final. We can't, nowhere near league leaders. So for me now, that it has to start recruiting and developing and planning for 2025. But the most frustrating thing, as we've probably all felt, losing 4 games in a row is bad enough, but then when you lose 5, and we've not done it for 38 years or something,
1986 it was.
So that in itself, to lose that, I mean, that didn't even happen under Cunningham. So you start questioning the team, you start questioning the coach, start questioning the club, start questioning everything about from top to bottom. But then, like you said, Graham, if we would have lost against Hull, I would have been sitting here now saying, that's it. But then you turn up at Hull, we've still got a depleted squad. Yes, they have 2, but we play them off the field. And I know their defence was woeful, but I don't know. 1 minute you turn and go, that's it. You've got to go. And then next minute you're thinking, well, actually, give him more time and he needs this. But I don't know what the answer is at the minute with the club, because they're so high and then they're so low, and we just can't seem to get a level.
I don't think we help ourselves in many ways, because I know Steve's alluded to this over the years, that our style of play is a style of play that I think you have to win. You've got to win everything with this style of play, because there's no other side to it, is there? There's no entertainment if you don't win.
If you lose playing this way, then you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
That's what Kieran Cunningham found out in the end.
Yeah. And
and he was top 4. He never came never outside the top 4.
Well, yeah, but it's just the 5 drives and a kick for most of the game, and I'm sure the players can play if they want to.
Yeah, well, they show that against Hull. They throw the ball around, they get through. You got forwards barging through, Parsley running, 20 metres to score. We've got big players.
If you look at it logically, this season, the only time, and this is even with a fully fit squad, early doors, the only time we've played really good rugby was against Huddersfield away. When we got that far away, we were comfortable. I mean, and it didn't matter if they made a balls of things basically. And it was, you were sort of looking and going, wow, that's great, that's fantastic. And that's how you wanted it all the time. But once you can't get away far enough from whoever you're playing on the scoreboard, then there's that fear of, don't want to make a mistake, we don't want to make any headers type of thing.
But we still make plenty.
Yeah,
so we might as well have a go on that score, yeah.
Again, the most frustrating thing is all the games that we've played and lost, every single one apart from Warrington, which, sorry, not Warrington, Lee away. Every single one of them games were winnable. Yeah, we're within 2 or 3 points or 4 points, whatever. Warrington for me was a complete and utter farce. I'll probably come on to the games later, but it's frustrating because you look at it. Even Wigan away, where we didn't really give ourselves much of a chance, we're there. We could have won it.
Could have won that game, yeah.
So we could have been sat here now, probably second, even first, if we would have just had that bit more effort or a bit more composure. So is that the players? Is that the coach? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there was some of the games I was watching and looking at, and it was like, no disrespect to school kids, but it was. There was no structure. There wasn't, and you hear it time after time that certainly from a defensive point of view as well. You're already there to go in for it for the guy who's next to you. I mean, certainly the league game, you were looking at it, so where are you going? Some of them were absolutely...
And the Warrington game as well. Yeah. As mentioned, you see the kids play at half-time and they don't pass the ball to each other. They just look for a gap for themselves all the time. They run sideways and they look for a gap and they go. That was what it was like.
Exactly.
We've got two men overlap and we're just running straight at them. Yeah. It's like, pass the ball.
Yeah.
We'll come to that later a bit more in detail, but that was a low point for me when Warrington were down to 11. And we didn't change anything. Yeah. And I was shaking my head, banging myself on the head. What are we doing?
What are we doing here? Nothing, we're down to 11 men and nothing changes.
And they scored another 2 tries for 12 men?
Yeah.
Anyway, all right.
That was a shambles, to be fair.
I was just thinking back. It kept me awake for a few nights there. But generally with the club and the style of play, okay, it's a sort of continuation of Wolf Ball in that this is how we won everything, and if we're going to carry on because we'll keep doing it and we'll keep winning stuff. Well, I think that's been nailed to a stop now, hasn't it? But is the club causing itself a problem with its recruitment and its sort of PR with the fans? Because I don't feel there's anything coming out of the club.
I don't think we should panic regarding recruitment just yet. But you're right, other clubs are making moves and we seem to be more indecisive. We've not had an announcement on what's happening with Wonga Blake yet, or on Connie Hurrell, who's obviously got quite a serious injury, so we don't know what his future is. So until we resolve the future of guys like this who are on big contracts, how can they make any, bring anybody in?
I guess we're kind of stuck in a way, aren't we?
Because the salary cap makes it difficult. Yeah. If you don't know what you're doing with those sorts of players, you don't know what cap space you've got to recruit, and I think that's making it difficult unless they know something we don't, and it is just a bad communication on their part.
Maybe, and there's also the issue with Mastautia as well.
I was just going to say, Sione, I mean, it's okay giving players the time to make a decision on what they want to do. But as a club, we've got to be looking at next season, because if Sione at the end of this month goes, well, actually, I'm going.
Yeah, I'm going.
Well, then we're 3 months behind where we should have been signed, like Reece Martin, who we've mentioned in previous shows. Yeah. Do you look at, there's all these players and they're getting snapped up left, right, and centre. And like Conrad, I don't know whether we'll see Conrad in a Saints shirt again. Just because of his age, because of his injury, his contract's up anyway. So if he's not going to be playing next season, we need players now, to sort of bolster our squad. So as a club, if that's the decision that he's not going to be here next season, do you say, well, thank you very much, Conrad, there's your wages for the rest of the year, mate, we've got cap space now to go and look elsewhere, or and there seems to be none of that, like proactive sort of. Maybe there is. Maybe we're all blind. We're all blind, and things are going on. And I don't want to criticise the club because I know there's a lot of hard work that goes into the salary cap. But as a fan point of view, we're all in the dark. And we sat here last month, 4 weeks on, and the rumour of Breer's then is still not confirmed, and we've got no players to back that up with, and
there was talk of Tristan Saylor coming with him as well, wasn't there, at the time?
But even that's
gone quiet as well.
That's gone quiet as well.
So that's going to happen now.
It's as a fan, you start doubting. You're thinking, well, what's happening? Because the same thing happened 12 months ago.
Well, that's exactly the point we're going to make with Wonga Blake.
And then next minute we've got Wonga Blake, who
was only ever coming for a year anyway before he went to French rugby. Yeah.
So is he like you said, Steve, is he staying? Is he going? We just don't know what's going on, and we can't keep on relying on the academy to pull us out every time. We need to bolster the squad, and I'm all for bringing the players through, but the players need time to develop. They need time to train. Because we've had so many players in the past where they've been thrown in, and then next minute, 2 seasons later, they're off to Widnes, they're off to Rochdale, they're off to somewhere else because they've been thrown into that cauldron. But I don't know. We just need, as fans, I think we just need something to grasp hold of and go. Do you know what? Yeah, we're moving forward. We're looking ahead.
Yeah, I think the injury, as I would say, crisis, because we've had a situation at one point where we had 9 first teamers who were unavailable.
Yeah,
that's tough to handle.
Oh, it's tough. Yeah,
anybody couldn't handle that. Yeah. And big players as well.
I mean, the question there is, could the success we've had in the past with Wolf and before that Albrook, would those 2 coaches have been as successful with that amount of injuries in a season?
Probably not.
It's an infer measurement of Wellens in that respect. You're thinking, but
I think Holbrook would have got away with it better because he brought Ben Barber in, and whatever else happened, we were good to watch. Yeah, because we had Ben Barber.
Yeah.
But if Ben Barber got injured,
well,
did you know what that's what I'm saying about it?
But I think he naturally had a more open style anyway. Holbrook didn't have the Wolf or Wellens, I think.
Yeah.
If we would have got absolutely, battered by all these teams as we did away against Lake, because that was a total whitewash, but if we would have got battered, like I said before, we were in these games and every single game was winnable. For me, that's more frustrating because we've got 9 first teamers out. I'd rather go and get beat 50-0 and go, right, okay, we're rubbish.
You should still do better when you've got like a man or 2-man advantage on the field.
Yeah.
That's
even if you've got players out injured, you should still do better than that.
Because then, for me, that comes down to the coaching.
But when you've got 20 yards of try line to go over and there's nobody there, I mean, I've never seen anything as diabolical.
I'm in this vicious circle at the moment, and it just keeps on going round and round. I'm not seeing any way out at Saints at the minute.
well, when you look at those injuries and the level of them, and they're not just sort of knocks that they could probably play with if they needed to. They are serious long-term injuries. Yeah. On top of that, the discipline hasn't been great, and we've lost 1 and 2 players in those games for 10-minute periods. So we've been playing half a game, half a half with 12 men, and losing points there. On top of those injuries, and 9 at 10 players, and I think we've got 2 more suspensions. I think Lomax is out for another 2 weeks. I think Percy might be back.
Percy's back for some games. He's only got 1 game back.
Yeah. Percy's back for a week.
Well, the Salford at home, wasn't it? He got sent off. Yeah. And that lost us the game. We were cruising in that game. Yeah. So and he gets sent off and we lose the game.
But if you think of injuries and discipline that have cost what they've cost us over this year, is that down to the coaching?
They're going to accept responsibility for it, I think, whether it is or not. Because at the end of the day, buck stops with them. If we're displaying bad discipline, it's up to their job, isn't it? To say we can't have this, cut it out, sort of thing, and it's not stopping. There's no sign of it stopping.
But it's happening all the time.
I know the rules are tougher than they used to be, but you got to adapt to get used to it.
Well, they're going to get tougher next year as well, aren't they?
Right, don't go there.
Yeah. That's another thing that's going to come up. But that'll be a whole show next year. We're dragging people out of the stand to play because we've got nobody left.
Apparently, head contacts have been reduced, though, so I think maybe we might get away with. You might not go the whole hog and bring in the armpit rule. I don't think.
Is it being?
It's being discussed, I think.
Discussed.
Yeah. It's supposed to come in next season.
I know that, but I watched all the games this weekend, and There's plenty of headshots that haven't been punished for me.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because how's it going to work? We seem to get punished for anybody who lies down and falls over when they're playing against us. Somebody goes off.
That's the other thing, isn't it?
There's a lot of consistency.
Well, that's the big
problems.
debate in the game. Is that if you get hit in the head, do you then stop and get some sort of attention from the medical team? Does that then influence the decision? Does
it certainly
that give them time to review it?
Well, that's what happens, isn't it?
Yeah.
Straight away.
It
But
gets
if you
reviewed.
don't, it doesn't get reviewed. Which, from my point of view, it shouldn't make any difference either way. The person who's in the box should be having a look at that, whether it's still play on. And
But if you're a coach, though, rightly or wrongly, if you say to your players, if you get hit in the head, take your time getting up, and then we'll see whether they get
that's definitely
yellow carded or red carded even.
That's definitely going to happen, isn't it? But I think with us, we seem to make we seem to give the referees a job to do.
Yeah.
Could be certainly the Percy one, that was against. Which one?
Can't think of it.
There's a few of them in the last one, with the league game,
Yeah.
where he went straight through on Moylan, and then the Johnny one where
He didn't even have the ball, by the way. That's
didn't
how
have the ball.
indisciplined and nuts that was.
Yeah.
He didn't even have the ball.
But it didn't lose us the game, but it doesn't help, and it got him a ban, and Johnny got 3 for a pretty stupid one, I thought. Although
It was the force involved in that one. It was pretty heavy shot. Like.
yeah.
So
Which is not Lomax, is it?
No,
when
but
it went off,
does that come out of frustration?
Yeah, and obviously being captain.
Because he's captain.
Yeah.
The team are away at Lee and getting absolutely walloped.
Yeah.
So...
I suppose that's another question, is it? Is Johnny Lomax the right person to be captain in that sort of sense? Is he
There's
a
a lot of
leader?
people
He's
say
a good
wouldn't
he's a
have
good
him in the
player.
team.
Yeah.
A lot of people wouldn't have him in the team
Yeah,
at the moment
true.
because he's not, he doesn't look to be the player that he was maybe even 2 years ago.
But I think that's because we've become easy to play against.
Yeah.
Because teams have watched us for 5 years now, so that's all we need to do against Saints. Certainly, Hull KR, Warrington, Wigan, other teams now. Castleford have even shown the way to beat us.
I try not to do it, but the fans certainly pick up on it. We Benningson, he was like the lad. Oh, he's no good. Get rid of him. So he doesn't play. And then it's Dodd. Oh well, Dodd's not playing. Well, sit him on the sideline. And now it seems because Lomax is not playing and we beat Hull. Oh well, it must be Lomax. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like
it's always Wonga Blake as well.
It's always Wonga Blake.
The new Francis Melly, isn't it?
Could have a whole section on him, but it seems to be we're picking on certain players when a lot of the time it's a team effort, isn't it?
Yeah.
effort,
I totally agree. I mean, you look at it sometimes and some of these youngsters that come in, and their effort is absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, the lad who came in, is it Burns, who was coming on as hooker? Just looking at him, his build and everything, I thought, get hold of him by scruff at neck now and get him in as our number 2 straight away.
Well, that's actually my next point.
Yeah.
The bonus of this situation that we've found ourselves in. I've listed 4. There's probably a couple more to talk about. But Robertson, Stevens, Burns, and Vaughan have all shown that I think they're capable of stepping up.
Yeah.
Stevens particularly, who looks like a monster.
Yeah,
he's a big lad, and he's got a bit about him, and he punches holes. I think he's almost pushing past Delaney now.
Yeah.
For me.
Well, Delaney did the same thing 12 months ago, didn't he? He came in,
Yeah.
I think Parsi and Wormsey had injury spells, and Delaney came in, he looked good. I'd say Noah Stevens looks better than Delaney at the moment.
He's awkward to
He's
sort of...
really awkward to get hold of.
In that Wormsley type scenario, Wormsley does it because he's tall, he's lanky, but he's difficult. But Noah Stevens, he just seems to, his leg drive, even when they're trying to get him down, still got leg drive, and then suddenly an hand will come out where he has that Parsi type where he can pop something out.
He's almost got a bit of puppy fat on him as well as at the minute, which will probably get coached and trained that he's comes leaner and slimmer and fitter, but he's I'd keep him as he is because he's harder to get down.
Do you know what? I wouldn't disagree with that. No, I wouldn't. I mean, what do you do?
He's Kevin Ward shape, isn't he?
Yeah. I'm not saying that you should feed him, so he is fat. What you do is you turn that into muscle as he gets older, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't certainly not slim him down. I mean, as much as I like Matty Lees, I think that's one of Matty Lees' it's not a failure. But I think if he had a bit more
Beef
beef on it, he would be, because he's got it there. He's got it in his head. I mean, he's doing stuff that he shouldn't. Well, I say he shouldn't does it because of his position. He should. But I mean, his size doesn't dictate that he should be doing that. But he's
almost too quick for a prop, because he gets himself into situations where he's been too quick and he's hit somebody. But if he'd slowed down and thought about it, he might not.
Yeah.
He might not quite got there quick enough. Robertson, this lad's a player for me. If he can just,
he is.
He just doesn't suffer because of the games he's playing in.
That's what we said before we came on tonight, wasn't it, about Robertson? Like, you know, when the likes of like you James Roby came through and James Graham came through, they're getting thrown into teams that are winning. You know, you've got some really good, solid players there, and for me at the moment, these players are getting chucked in, and I just fear that we're not like 2010, 2011, when, you know, the likes of Gaskell coming through and, you know, them sort of players like Eastman, and all of a sudden all them players have gone because they've gone thrown into the cauldron. I don't know, Robertson looks a different class. He looks as good as Wellesby for me. You know,
at the age.
I think from an attacking point of view, certainly. I think defensively at the moment he's a bit.
He's got a bit to learn.
But that's to be learned. The way he's dropped in on the shoulder of the likes of Clark, who scored that try in the last game, and obviously the break he made. He's got that in his locker, and he's another one who's awkward.
Yeah, I
mean, you don't know when you've got him down, and he's a bit, you know, sort
of lanky as well. So he's like, you know,
and he's not frightened of sort of like coming inside and taking on. You know, his first inclination isn't let me catch it and pass it on. It could be so easy for him to do that, but he doesn't. So, you know, you've got to take your hat off to him for that.
Yeah,
and hope it doesn't get coached out of him.
Well, there is that. Steve, your thoughts on Stevens, Robertson?
I have some concerns. Not the way they're developing. I think they're doing really, really well, and in some ways you could argue that it would be even worse without them. But I worry about how we, as soon as they get in the first team, we tend to overstate their worth and their value, and we want them to stay and play every week. And I'm not sure are they good enough to do that when everyone's fit? Not really. I don't think so. In most cases, not now. And two, what does it do to them, in terms of development? Is it too soon? Because Wellens talks after every game almost about asking him to do too much, and I think he is asking him to do too much because he has to. But I think that also transmits to the fans, and they sort of assume that these guys are the real deal and ready. It's all going to be fabulous. But for everyone that becomes Jack Wellesby, you get one that becomes the guys that Daz mentioned, Jimmy Foster and Gary Wheeler and all that sort of thing. So it's not a guarantee that these guys are going to be superstars, is what I would say. So we need to give them a bit of breathing space and not overhype them. And
one of the problems there is, that's like you're saying there, Steve. You get the likes of Wellens saying, give him his due. He's not come out and said the superstars. He said the good players, etc. But you get
it's more the fans that have been saying that sort of thing.
But Sky get onto that, and suddenly it's such and such a body been talking, and this lad's and this the best things, and that's every single match that Saints are playing. The same rhetoric comes out. So consequently, that's being reinforced. And I said, I think it was second game that Robinson played, and I said to my son, I said, do you know what? Yeah, he's good. I said, but he's got to learn to defend. I said, and he can't do that at the moment. And that's probably because he's not got enough games in the first team.
Well, I think he's been thrown in at fullback in all the big games where, in an ideal world, he might have had a couple of games that's on the wing. With a full team, he might have a couple of games. He might have come on,
or a centre, with Tommy outside.
He might have come, with Tommy and outside him for 20 minutes here and there. But he's actually been thrown in. But he's not looked out of place, to be fair, apart from the odd tackle he's missed. He was nowhere to be seen when Dufty came through.
Stood him up.
But he'll learn with that. I mean, that's good for him. But it's not good. It's not good for the time it happens in the game, is it? Okay, well, I'm happy with those two. Young Jake Burns, 2 tries on Saturday.
Yeah,
full hooker. Looks the part.
Yeah. Do you know who he looks like? Style-wise, and I've said this before, our hooker should look. He looks like Mottersed, who plays for the women. Same physique, same style, same passing range.
I like.
In fact, he looked as though he could be somewhere on the lines of Danny Walker at Warrington. That sort of busy, really into it.
Yeah, he also looks like he's got quick service and decent service, which is what doesn't happen when we've not got a hooker on the field, or Clark's not quite as good as Roby. I think we're seeing that
when Morgan Knowles is there.
When Morgan Knowles is there, yeah.
I think that Clark, as he is now, offers you a bit more than Roby did in the last 2 years.
Not only that,
going forwards,
look at the minutes he's been doing as well. I mean, you've got to take your hat off him, don't you? I mean, he's, I've no problems. He's slotted in like God knows what. I think it's like, but Jake Burns for me, it's. Yeah, if there's one that you've got to get hold of now and say, right,
let's get him into the 17.
Yeah,
so
give
I
him
know
a chance.
He was in the 17 against Wigan, but they didn't play.
That's bizarre.
But if anyone's in danger of being overhyped, it's a local St Helens hooker. So be very careful with, because they've got a lot to live up to, haven't they?
Yeah, that's fair.
So we can't, go overboard on that one.
I put a little question mark by Johnny Vaughan because I've got a feeling or a concern that he might be going the Benison way.
Me too.
Because he's in and out.
Somebody told me the other day that actually he's a second rower. So he's been playing centre mostly, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Because I looked at him and thought, he's not that fast.
Yeah.
He doesn't he's not got a great passing game, really. He just doesn't let you down. He's stable, it's okay. So I couldn't see why everyone thought he was spectacular, but then someone told me on Twitter that he's a second rower. So and we haven't seen him play second row. He looks a bit small to play second row, I think, but people have said that at academy level or whatever, reserve level, he has played a lot of second row. So if he ever gets a chance there, we'll probably see something different.
But I think
we're so stacked there. He won't get a chance there for who knows how long, because even with injuries, there's like 3 or 4 ahead of him.
He's 9th choice as a second row at Saints.
Do you remember the days when we said, we got too many second rowers?
I said that. I'm guilty of that.
We only had one, didn't
when we signed Matt Whitley, I was like, what are we doing then?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's mental. We had 5 or 6 proper top line second rowers, and then up until Whitley came back last week, we only had like 1.
Yeah.
We had Syrian, and that was it.
Right, let's get this over with. Let's look at the games in a bit more detail.
Oh, gosh.
Sorry we've got to do this, but it's all we have to have a quick look at it. It's dreadful reading. First game since our last show was Saints 6, Castleford 8. The actual details were Saints drive from Royal, a goal from Percy. Seniors scored a try for Castleford in the second half, and 2 penalties from Milnes. Was it Milnes?
Rowan Mills.
Both given away for stupidity. But we never looked like scoring. We were lucky to get 6, I thought, on that occasion. And that was just the start of the slide in July. I was shaking my head watching that. What are your thoughts?
Well, I said on the last show, if we can't beat Castleford at home, we might as well give up.
I think Gaz said something similar as well.
It didn't go much better than that, really, did it? So I think we give up after that one. It was awful. Like you just said there, you touched on the attack. We never looked like scoring. We never looked like we had any composure. The defence was ropey. I don't know. I didn't take much from that game at all, to be honest with you, although I just was frustrated.
And we had a lot. The annoying thing, a lot of time on their line, and couldn't get over.
We just couldn't get over.
It was a game we should have won in a canter, and didn't. Found a way to lose, in fact. Do you agree with that, Steve?
I do. Yeah. I mean, full disclosure, I didn't go to this game. And the reason why I didn't go to this game is because it's a smack bang in the middle of the Euros, and there's a big game. I think it was Spain and Germany or someone. And I said to my mate who I normally go with, I said, we're going to win this by 40 points. It's going to be worth of our time. And so then I watched the game.
Was that Spain or...?
There was no chance of Spain or Germany scoring 40. There was Saints scoring 40. I mean, if you're not a Saints or a Cas fan, it must have been unwatchable. It was diabolical. The standard.
It was awful.
It was not a great advert for Super League at all. Was it one of the worst Super League games I've seen this year?
Yeah.
Both sides, like you say, Graham, struggled to look like create or even look like score. And it was just a kind of... a grind, slow motion grind, where I think you make a break.
I think even Sky relegated us because we get bloody Stuart Pike commentating.
That's because he's the hometown fan, and that's why he gets our games.
To be honest with you, it was one of them. When I got home, I just deleted it. I didn't even watch it back because I didn't want to put myself through that again.
I watched it twice.
It was dreadful. It was just awful. And like you said, there was just nothing. You couldn't take anything from that game.
No creativity at all. No.
Yeah.
But to be
And
fair,
Cats weren't good. They were terrible.
to be fair, we could have won that because
Well, we lost by 2 points in the end.
Yeah, 55 seconds to go. Passing knocks on.
Yeah.
And he gets time, goes over, and it's a totally different.
But it's a dash. Was it Dodd that chucked the ball?
Yeah.
And it's a bullet pass.
Yeah.
2 meters away from him, and it's
him.
like a bullet pass. He just had to fall over the line. He scored, and it was one of them games where everything we did was just frustrating. And you could always hear it in the crowd, can't you? When you stood there, it's like,
it is a crowd that is almost ahead of the team in the Saints.
Yeah, they are.
They know what they're going to do and they know what's going to happen a lot of the time.
You had about 50 Cast fans there, and every time we were going, they were going, hey, look, we got a chance, we got a chance.
And to be fair, I mean, is it one of those sort of scenarios where Cass were on a high because they'd had some good results?
Yeah.
Is it a matter of like I suppose they said we're going to tonk these by 40, so the eye was off the prize type of thing from a Saints point of view.
Well, I think there was an element of complacency in that game. I think they thought they were going to roll them over, and as soon as they
I think that's from the fans as well.
Well, yeah.
That because, like I say, I said it. We might as well give up if we don't beat Castle. We sort of like, as fans, we put ourselves up there on that pedestal, don't we? And sometimes it's the hard graft and hard grind and the working hard for each other that you actually get them results. Then you can beat the team.
Well, it's almost as if the crowd are playing badly as well.
Yeah, it is.
In the sense that
and at that time, I think we only lost one game at that time. We lost it. Lost at Salford, I think.
Which we could have won.
Which we could have won again. So it wasn't really a crisis at that point. No. I think if we were playing Cass at home this weekend just gone, there'd be a lot of fans saying we probably won't win this. Yeah. Because of the form that we're in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe the crowd
but at that time,
a good look in the mirror.
Everyone thought we were going to win it easy.
Yeah. And then to lose at home to Cass and then have to go to Wigan was a dread factor in that, but luckily, unfortunately, I think they were missing Field and French on that occasion. But again, another game, I think we should have won. Yeah. We could have won. I won't say should. We could have. And we found a way to throw it away.
Well, it's always that added thing of no matter what teams turn up, whether it be Wigan or Saints, whether they've got injuries, whether they've not got injuries, whether they've got full strength, it's always one of them. The players turn up for that game. Yeah. And it doesn't take much. Well, it probably does, but from a fan point of view, it doesn't seem to take much for a coach to get that team up for playing in that game. So I think there was always going to be a response after Castleford.
Yeah.
Whether it be home at Wigan or away at Wigan. Obviously it was away. But again, that about 3,500 went.
It was a good turnout.
Good turnout for was losing the past two games, and that end was rocking. So the players turned up, and again could have won it.
And
another game we could have won.
And that was wasn't that the debut for Robertson?
Debut.
It was the game where Paul Lenz dropped Lewis Dodd.
Yeah.
Which I personally think he was totally scapegoated because you could have dropped the whole lot from the Castleford game.
Yeah.
Why are you dropping him and nobody else? I don't know.
Yeah. Because I think, although we've been critical of Dodd over, I think principally since he signed his deal with or confirmed he's going to Australia, because he seemed to me to go into I'm not getting injured mode.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what may have led to the slowdown, or I say slowdown in attack, but he's not taking the line on quite so much as he was, and that means that everybody else is a step behind in the attack. So it was probably the right decision.
I think that dates back to before he signed for the Rabbitohs, though. I think that dates back to the injury and the appointment of the current coach, who I think is a very conservative tactician, let's say.
Well, which is unusual when you consider the way he used to play.
But I think he's just decided, well as this is, that he's seen what's happened with Wolf and how well that's worked, and his philosophy is, it ain't broke, so don't fix it.
Yeah.
And now let's find a way to fix it, because it is broke.
Yeah.
He's struggling a bit for ideas, and the fact they've got players out isn't helping. But back to the Wigan game, I was quite encouraged by that performance.
Yeah, I agree.
Daz is right. It was always going to be better than Cass because it's the derby, and because we'd had that performance, and everybody had gone mad and the team had got slated. So there was always going to be a response of some sort. But I just thought that with a few different decisions or a few bounces of the ball going the other way, we could have nicked that game.
Yeah.
And that's a world away from losing at home to Cass to then go and win at Wigan. That would have been
bizarre,
amazing, but. Wasn't to be in the end, but I was encouraged by it. But as we'll see, it was a bit of a false dawn.
I think the two sets of fans there, I think the Saints fans went home happier than the Wigan fans would have. Because we had a lot more injuries. Yeah, I know they had the 2-star men out.
Yeah.
But Wigan can't seem to play without them. You know, they can't. They're not that clinical without both of them on the field. But going back to Saints, you know, we had a lot of young kids come into this, like Harry Robson. I think that was his first game. You know, I think Noah Stevens, did he start?
He might started, I think.
I can't quite remember, but you know, you've got the likes of Ben Davis who played, and for me, Ben Davis, he made a lot of errors, and he's probably one of the more senior young.
That was the game changer.
What was put in touch for the kickoff was the one.
But that for me, that's the fine margin between probably Wellens keeping his job and Wellens losing his job, and you know that's what I keep on coming back to all the time. It's them individual things of. That's what wins you the games, and that's what loses you the games. I think I'm not blaming Ben Davis for the whole game, but I'm just, you know, that particular moment seemed to be a turning point for us losing that game.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
It was Stevens came off the bench in that game.
Who played prop? Was it Parsi?
Props.
Parsi and Lees.
Parsi and Delaney, or Lees and Delaney.
It was Delaney and Lees started. Yeah.
Parsi on the bench.
Crowd of 20,000. You know, considering, you know, sort of Saints are on a bit of a wobble from the game before. And ironically, penalty count was what was it? At half time it was 6-0, and then in total it was, I think it was 9-6, something like that.
And that doesn't include 6 agains.
No.
So, because if you remember, back in the day before COVID, they were all penalties.
That's right.
So the penalty count would be bigger than what it is now.
Yeah.
But there are little bits and bobs, aren't there, that creep in, like you were saying, some stuff that Davis has done, Wacker Blake have done, you know, and you're thinking,
what are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you
doing? And
Wacker Blake contributed to the next game. We'll come to that in a second, but there were some green shoots there, weren't there, in that Wigan game?
Certainly in the Wigan game, I thought so, But we sort of regressed then again after that. So
I think if we would have won against Wigan, I think it would have probably give us that bit of confidence. But the fact that we lost, we're then going into training again, heads down. 3 defeats
and having to play Warrington the week after.
Warrington, who were really good.
Well, they were buoyant at the time, Warrington. And then that was the 7 days later, and Saints 10, Warrington 24. But that's not the story of the game, really. The story of the game was Harrison. Harrison got himself sent off after they were 12-0 up, weren't they? They scored 2 early tries with I'm
trying to remember it, I'm thinking at the time, I thought, that is a red card. I've got no issues with that, really.
Yeah, look, it looked straight away, it looked one to me, and I think
it's contact with the head, wasn't it? And
the shoulder to head.
These days, even if it's accidental, you can't do it.
If he'd got up and carried on, it might have played on.
Might not have been reviewed,
Now, for me, when I first saw it, I thought, what's that about? It's nothing. When it showed you a couple of times and his shoulder had...
Just a shoulder straight to the noggin, wasn't it?
I think as he's coming in, his shoulders come in, he has it in. I mean, and sometimes you think, I know it's wrong, but you think sometimes, should there not be something where, if it's intentional, where you're going in to hurt somebody, then fair enough, the penalty should be worse.
I think that's the thing, though. They can't differentiate between intentional and non-intentional in those issues, can they?
I don't know. A swinging arm is a difference between somebody clashing in on a shoulder.
I think if it's unintentional, I think they've still got a problem, because they want to get away from the idea that if you play this game, that's going to happen to you unintentionally, because of the lawsuits and all that sort of stuff. That's the legal stuff that's pending. I think the people who run the game are trying to basically clean it up.
That's going to get deeper now, isn't it, with thingy coming out this week?
Jonesy
coming out.
Mention that later, But that game wasn't. It was a bad start, but it wasn't a low point, because they went down to 12 men, and then we pulled a couple of tries back. I think it was Sam Royal came on. Parsi scored just after half time with about 47 VAR looks at it. And then Royal got one to 10-12, back to 10-12, and then I can't quite recall who got sin-binned for Warrington then.
It was Nicholson,
yeah, for
Nicholson
obstruction.
Yeah. And they were down to 11 at that point.
So that there, we've just scored, gone down. As a fan, you're thinking, we've got this.
We've got this.
We've got this game sewn up. And the most disappointing thing was, after we'd scored, they went down the other end and they scored. And I'm thinking, what are we doing?
What are we doing? And then we were against 11 men for 10 minutes. We didn't change anything.
No.
We carried on exactly the same process. What does Ian Watson always say? Follow the process.
Didn't do much good, did it really?
Follow the bleeding process. He's got sacked now, hasn't he?
Yeah, down the job centre now, I think.
But even like the 6-7-year-old kids sat on the side of the pitch watching would have been thinking, oh, we know how to play like against a team with 1 man, 2 men down.
Yeah.
Why? But we've got enough players on there.
Yeah.
It's like
with experience to sort it out, but we didn't.
It's like the Franks to just push the ball wide, aren't they? It's just,
but I think they're waiting for it to happen.
Yeah, I think it's commitment from the players as well. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Wonga Blake got the ball and he could have scored.
Oh, the Wonga Blake one was horrendous.
He got held up, didn't he? Or did he?
Yeah, he stepped back inside and got tackled. Yeah. And then he tried an offload with like a bit of a panic thing.
But it's just like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
like,
mental.
But that the commitment again from the players. You've got to see the 11 men in front of you. Know that you've got 13 on your side, and just throw that ball around. Take that defence one way or the other, and then strike. But there was nothing. There was no guidance. There was nothing coming from them.
But teams do that against us.
They do.
When we've got 30 and scored against us.
Yeah. When you lose a man, it's either famine or feast, isn't it? You're galvanised, or it's like, I lost. But every time we lose one, we're like, heads down. Every time another team loses one, it's like they're galvanised. It's like, come on, we'll have this. I don't know.
And to cap it all, that last try, Lewis Dodd's tying his shoelaces.
Yeah.
And Williams runs straight through the gap, and he's not even looking who's coming.
Yeah.
That was right in front of me, stupefied. Like the whole thing. What is going on here? That was just insane. And that was almost a low point. The low point was not scoring against 11 men for me.
Yeah.
And I thought that was going to be a low point in July till the next game. But there's things like that creeping in which are almost unforgivable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Blake thing was against Lee, wasn't it?
We'll come to that in the next one. Yeah. Because that was
But it was a masterclass in how not to play against 12 or 11 men.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's got to be said, Wonga Blake, for all the stuff he's done, I think if you watched him against London, and he was going in and diving in, sort of doing spectacular when he didn't need to.
Yeah.
And there was a gap there that you could have got 3 St Helens double-decker buses through, and he just didn't. Rather than just saying, right, I'm going for that corner there. This guy's not going to get me. No, I'll cut back inside. Why? Get round your man, get in. Then if you can narrow the angle to make fair enough. But at least get over and get the points first.
Anyway, just when we thought we couldn't get any worse, we go to Lee, where we have a history of being frightened by the atmosphere there, don't we?
Well, we lost there last year, as I recall. I watched that game because I was in hospital at that time, and I watched the game on Saints TV. That game, and we were like camped out in their half nearly the entire game.
Yeah.
But a lack of attacking ideas meant we didn't score any points. And so when they got some ball, they had some strike players like Charlie and Adaker and whatnot. They scored a couple of tries and beat us. Well, this was a different kettle of fish. This was a demolition.
Let's put the facts to it. Lee 46, Saints 4. One try was from Ben Davis, which was from a really good run from Robertson, really. He picked a ball up in loose play.
Clever kick as well.
Yeah,
pretty well-weighted kick.
Yeah, well-weighted kick. But we conceded 8 tries. 2 to Josh Charnley, then Moylan, Lamb, O'Donnell, McIntosh, Amon and Handley. And got a right hammering, 46-4. But Johnny Longwatt's got himself sin-binned and a subsequent 3-match ban. And Percy got himself sin-binned with a subsequent 1-match ban, which is now served. But again, 2 stupid tackles. Again, coming back to the points we were releasing earlier, discipline falling apart, composure gone, in the face of a Lee onslaught. I mean, Lee don't beat anybody 46-4, do they?
Not this year.
Not even beat London 46-4.
Like we said before, we went down to 12 men there when Percy went off. And
first thing we do,
the floodgates opened.
Oh yeah,
the floodgates absolutely opened. We looked clueless. Again, I come back to Wonga Blake. He was on his own, and I don't know whether that was his fault or because he's missing Percy. I don't know. Couldn't quite see the defensive line, but the floodgates just opened, and it was just a hard watch.
But again, in that one, was it 12-0, and then he didn't score when he should have done, and then he went down the other end and made it 18-0.
Possibly.
It was in the first half.
It was in the first half.
Yeah. It was a head shaker.
Not sure what the score was.
That could have. I think it might have been about 20-0 when we were down at their end.
It made a difference. Yeah.
There was a big difference, but at that time of the game, you're thinking, okay, Leah struggling a bit here now. We're getting a bit of momentum. If we could have scored there, I think it might have been. A bit better.
But you can't blame the coach for that.
No, you can't blame the coach.
Apart from picking him. Picking him to play.
But the biggest thing is with that, the players didn't look interested. They just did not look interested.
That's what I was referring to when it looked like school kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's being disrespectful to school kids, honestly.
They just, you're watching the game, you're thinking, where's our team gone? Where's our, camaraderie gone? Well, obviously Lomax went off and, he's the captain. I can't remember who stepped up then, because I think Morgan Knowles was still off the field then, wasn't he? So
he wasn't playing then. He wasn't playing this week.
Yeah,
I can't remember who stepped up to captain, but there was just no guidance. There was no come on lads, let's get this together. And
Wellesby's gone off after 5 minutes, unfortunately.
Yeah,
which is, I think he's out for the season now.
But they reckon about 8 weeks, which would get him back for maybe the last game of the season. But will there be anything to play for anyway at that point? So could be the game.
I think it's been a perfect storm the last 6 weeks, but we were top of the league 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Which is quite a fall.
But to be fair, we've said how tight it's been at top of that league. So any club that would have lost 2 or 3 matches would have exactly the same time.
Look at Wigan. After they beat us, they've won the league leader shield. Everyone's talking. It's just a matter of time. And next minute, lose 2 games, okay, our top. So. It can all turn its head.
I was listening to the 5 Live Rugby League podcast with Tanya Arnold and Kevin Brown, and they were interviewing Chris Radlinski, which is a very good interview actually. And he was on about Wigan, and he was saying about he said we've got X amounts of the 4 trophies and everything. He says we've just lost 2 games on the bounce. He said, and everybody's on our backs, all the Wiganers are. Yeah. He said, and that's how it is as a town. That's the expectation, and it's exactly the same here.
It's the same here.
Exactly the same
here. Yeah.
And listening to him was very, very good. I mean, he was talking about obviously the USA stuff and all that as well. So as much as I'm not a keen lover of the BBC, I would say go and give it a listen, because it was good.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so 46-4. Right, still having shivers on that one.
Can I just say, from a League Express point of view, in a couple of those matches, the actual player of the match in one was Noah Stevens, and in that match it was for Saints, it was Harry Robertson.
Yeah.
So it just shows you when.
Do they have to pick one for each side, regardless of the result?
One for each side.
I was going to say, because we didn't have them play the match in that game.
But giving them one for each side. But that shows that out of all the sort of experienced inverted commas players that are on that pitch, those lads.
Doesn't it also show you that you can't just stick Jack Wellesby in the halves and think it'll all change?
No,
it won't, because it's we work to a system.
Yeah.
We play to a system. Nobody seems to be allowed to play what's in front of them.
No disrespect to Robertson, but I think we've lost the potency with Wellesby going in the halves. I think he was much better at full back, and I would have kept him there and try and juggle things round.
Well, Harry Robinson will probably play the rest of the season now, as long as he don't get injured at full back. For me at Lee, he was one of the positives. Along with our stalwarts in Makinson. Never takes a backward step, and Percy as well.
Sometimes Percy needs to take a bat.
Sometimes Percy does, but apart from the sin bin, I think he came back on and he really tried his damnedest to get the team back on track, but obviously it wasn't to be. But
I'm not really. I've never got to a point where I've not thought the lads aren't trying.
Yeah,
I always think that they just can't work like this. It doesn't work what they're doing.
No, but that's coaching. It's up to Paul Bellens to get older and say, we need to do something different, lads, because this is not working anymore.
Yeah, because that league game, they just looked totally unstructured into what they were.
Yeah, but what do you make of the when they keep panning to our coaching box and there's 8 or 7 in there, and all sitting there, nobody's talking to each other.
Well, who've you got there? So you got Wellens, you got Fraser New one side, Matty Smith the other side. You've got
Derek Trainer, and the other guy whose name I can't remember, Mike Rush, hanging around in the back.
Yeah. I must admit, I don't like that. I wouldn't like my CEO hanging over my shoulder while things weren't going so well. I must admit, I know in away games that doesn't happen, but at home is usually.
But nobody else does it. Wigan have got Pete and Lulai and the guy with it on his computer, and Leeds have got. Well, they had Rowan Smith and thinking next to him,
the new guy,
and. Brad Arthur.
Do you see John Wells on Sky marvelling at the fact they had computers? That was a real low light for me, that one. He said, look, he's got these computers and all these wires. Yeah, that's it's 2024, John.
In the Wigan game when he was going on at the side, they did not even move, not even flinched by that.
It's so cringy.
That was vomit-inducing, that, wasn't it?
We had it 2 weeks on the bounce. They did it at Wigan.
Then they had the Sam Burgess thing.
Then they had the Sam Burgess
thing.
We've mic'd him up.
If you notice with Sam Burgess at the end of the game, obviously Wellens having a torrid time, bless him. He's just suffered his 3rd defeat on the bounce. He's going to console the fans, console the players, whatever he's going to do. And Sam Burgess on mic, just for Sky, goes over to him. We'll have a coffee, Paul. Meet me up for a coffee. And it's just like, what are you on about here? Like, why is this on Sky?
Oh dear. Oh.
No, I have this thing about Burgess because I have got this thing that he's not a coach. He's just somebody.
He's one of the lads.
And he's an
figurehead.
Yeah, he's an inspirer.
But is Paul Wellens in the same category?
Possibly.
An ex-player who's done loads in the game, but isn't necessarily the best tactician.
Well, I think the man tying everything together at Warrington is Richard Marshall.
I agree with you 100% there, mate. 100%.
Not Snake Hips Martin Gleeson. No. What a player he was. Till he had that bet.
Yeah.
It's Cal, is it Fitzpatrick?
Cal Fitzpatrick.
The Warrington fans love him, don't they?
We've all got our foibles, haven't we? Yeah. Maybe Mike Rush needs an earring or something.
He needs an earring, yeah. Earring aid.
He just needs Wolfie's head instead of a trophy. Trophy cabinet. I don't know whether anyone saw that ever. When they interviewed that Fitzpatrick at Warrington, and he sat behind the Warrington trophy cabinet. All you can see is Wolfie's head.
There's nothing else in it.
There's nothing else there.
Dust.
Just a bit of dust.
1955, isn't it? Last time Warrington won the title.
Let's not wind him up because they might go and do it this year.
Yeah, it might be the year.
Or go with a bit of luck, okay.
Can't wait to see the mic'd up Sam Burgess if they do. For the grand final win.
That'll be worth a YouTube view.
It'll just be more like Yorkshire mumbling, won't it, really?
I love you, lad. Come on out there and do it.
Do it for me. Bring it home for me.
What I found strange was when Warrington scored, he's going, Yorkshire. No, Sam.
The sad thing was Warrington fans were doing the same thing.
All right, well, let's bring it round. We've stopped the tide for a sec. We went up to Hull on Saturday and came away with a 46-6 win.
It's not easy to do that, stopping the tide or all. Trust me.
A couple for Burns, Parsy, Whitley, Clark, a couple for Dodd, Makinson, and 6 goals from Tommy, with a consolation try from Walker for Hull. Well, thank God for that, because I dread to think what it would be like on Thursday if we'd gone to Hull and lost. But a decent performance, poor Hull team. I think they've given up on it's a good. Put it this way, it's a good job London are in the division. But
surprised me that though, because they've been better until that game. They have improved
a bit. Yeah.
Their results have been a lot closer, and they've won a couple of games. They beat Wigan and they beat Leeds. So I was expecting it to be tough.
I was expecting a tough game,
but it was like you say, quite easy in the end, wasn't it?
Well, I think we had three bodies back because I think Whitley played. Knowles
came
back, and so we've got a bit of strength up the middle, and that proved the key because we made all the breaks through the middle,
and also a really good turnout by the Saints fans.
Yeah,
another good following down across.
Yeah. No, you can certainly hear them. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I think the Hull fans were just sitting in the sun drinking lager, weren't they?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a good job they did go because
the atmosphere was gone.
Oh, it was 9,800, which. Considering that there's that many Saints fans there, you would have thought it at least double, been in double figures at minimum. I know they're not,
but in a ground that big as well, it looks even worse.
I think the rest of them were in middle of the town,
throwing bricks at Greg's.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the game's gone, hasn't it? The mind boggles about those people.
If you come into the game, don't go into the city centre.
Jeepers. Anyway, we've what's the better expression? We've put a halt on the record-breaking defeat run. But we thought July was going to be tough. August is shaping up even very similar. I don't know if you've looked at the fixtures upcoming, chaps. Obviously, we've got
Wigan again, Magic.
Yeah,
we've got Salford next.
Salford on Thursday.
Salford at home on Thursday, which is a must-win for me.
Yeah.
Must-win.
But they pretty much all are now, I think.
Yeah, but that's true.
If we're going to make the playoffs, we've got to put a run together, haven't we?
Yeah.
And the end of the month, got a gripe about OKR. Originally, it was on a Friday.
Is it Thursday now?
Yeah.
They
moved
moved it to
Saturday.
Saturday. Yeah.
Right.
I've got tickets and everything. Got my relatives over. Got seats booked and everything. Oh, now we moved her over to Saturday.
Well, it's happened to the Salford game. Should have been next Saturday. And we were in the same situation where we had some relatives who were coming up from Milton Keynes, and they'd booked hotels. They were coming up for the weekend. They booked tickets. Going to have a weekend with the family. All of a sudden, we're moving it to Thursday. And it's it does. People look at the fixture list and they have plans, especially for Saturday games. And you can Friday night, Thursday night, not much difference. But it's
not great for fans.
Not great.
But it's the old problem, isn't it? The broadcaster.
Oh yeah.
They're paying the paper, so to speak. So they call the tune.
It's every single game has got some importance on it.
Don't get me wrong.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they all and the Castleford games didn't have importance on them, but I think the ones were, like I said, I suppose to a certain degree, you could have really said, this is this could be a banker for us. I think all of them now. There's
jeopardy on them all, isn't there?
Yeah, because if you can knock them off one by one, that's when you're going to pull yourself up into those.
Well, Salford on Thursday. Salford in fourth.
Yeah.
So they're going to be
ahead of us.
They're going to be looking to make that gap between us and them bigger.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking to bridge that gap. And keep Leeds away from knocking on the door to us.
Catalan getting beat by London helped.
That massively helped.
Yeah.
The biggest thing with us at the moment, our points difference.
Yeah,
is a lot better.
It's one of the best.
If we were, we were at the top, we'd probably be top on points difference.
Still got like one of the best defences in the league, Saints. Yeah.
Salford Red Devils. What do you think their points difference is?
I think they're still in minus.
I reckon they're quite even because they will tend to ship as many points as they scored, don't they? About plus 12, I think.
I think they're minus.
Yeah, they're -5.
I think.
Are they?
In fourth place, -5.
Minus points difference and the fifth.
Yeah.
Fourth.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know what it says, but it says something about the league, doesn't it?
But it's exciting to watch.
But that's certainly I think it will be. I think it will be a good game on Thursday.
Yeah, I think
they are a handy side, aren't they? So
yeah.
It won't be a boring
and they're not
5 drives and a kick fest. I don't think.
They're not frightened of coming in Saints and having a go.
But I think Laffey's got himself banned, hasn't he?
Has he?
I think he's got a match ban. I read that
He
today.
certainly got himself simmed in the wicket.
Yeah,
Leeds on Saturday.
I think he's pulled a match. I think.
Right. Well, that'll help us because he's a threat.
Yeah, he's
a really good player.
But I think he missed the last game.
I think he did. I think he was missing the last game.
And they still beat us.
The one of their players. Yeah. Well, I mean, they're a good side. If we're not on it, we're going to get beat again.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we've got Wigan after that at Magic, which is they'll probably have Field and French back. So we're going to have to be I think we'll have to
Field
win.
is back. He played against Huddersfield, but French, I'm not sure about him.
I don't know. But I think if we hadn't gone to Hull and won, I think we'd have been in a bit of a bigger, massive hole.
And the other thing there is, like we were on about London and Catalander and London doing us a favour, they're still the same points as us.
Same points as us, yeah.
If French doesn't play against us when we play Wigan, I can see us having a go at Wigan again.
Well, if you've got a few back, we won't
because we'll have a few back.
The pack will be better.
So we are going to be better than when we played them at their place. And for me, French for them is a massive miss. Both of them, but
I get the point.
French certainly is a massive miss.
He's a bit more creative, isn't he?
Yeah, Field you can give and take, but when they're both on the field, you've got two threats.
And Harry Smith can't be anywhere as bad as he was against Huddersfield.
Oh, so, no, that was a shocker, wasn't it?
Yeah, an absolute mare. So, yeah. The other threat, I think, from Wigan, from those two you mentioned, is Liam Marshall. He's rapid.
Yeah.
And he made a huge amount of ground on that left edge against us.
Yeah,
he didn't end up scoring, but he was all over us for half an hour.
Yeah.
Kept making 30-metre breaks and then making bad decisions so they didn't score, but he's a big threat.
Yeah. And they've got that young lad, Eckersley, is he?
He looks a player.
Zach Eckersley,
He slotted in well with them. I mean, he's sort of done the same over there as Robertson's done for us in that.
Although he didn't play against Huddersfield when they brought Field back, he dropped him, which is a bit unfortunate, but I guess player like Field, it's what you do, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it doesn't get any easier because after that we've got Hull KR at home and they just gave Warrington a right scene too the other night. A really good.
I wouldn't back us to beat Hull KR at the moment, I've got to say.
No, they've got that. They're what I consider the best player in the league at the moment.
Oh yeah, Mikey Lewis.
Yeah.
Depending on, I don't know how many games we got after that. So we've
got 6 left. We've got Hull KR, then we've got the Giants away, Wire away, and Cass at home to finish off again. Quite how that's worked out.
We've got 6. No,
6 games.
Not 7.
No, I don't know if that's.
Have you got the table up, Steve?
Yeah,
I might have.
Saints have played 20.
So should have 7 then.
There's another one. Must be another one. Sorry. I'll have a quick look, Steve. I thought 13th of September was the last. Then it's playoffs.
It's around that time. It's around that time. I'm sure there's 7 games left though.
I was just going to say with the OKR game, it depending on where we are and how comfortable or uncomfortable we are in the top 6. Because ultimately, I can't see us pushing anywhere more than sort of 4th at the minute, the way they're playing. So if it gives Hull KR a chance of winning the League Leaders Shield over Wigan, I will quite happily throw that game.
Conspiracy theories.
Roll over and die.
I'll quite happily sit and have a pint and watch Hull KR trounce us if it means them winning the League Leaders Shield, because it's one less trophy in that cabinet over that Billings lump.
They can stop talking about their 4 in a row then, can't they?
Yeah, we got all the trophies in cabinet.
What concerns me about OKR and Salford is that the way that both of those teams play, it's tailor-made to exploit our weaknesses.
But do you know, from a rugby league fan point of view, wouldn't it be great if they both in grand final?
It'd be a great watch. If they went head to head, it'd be a great watch.
Who, sorry, with Hull KR and
Salford.
Oh, great. Yeah.
That'd be a great watch. It would.
Yeah.
I can't see it, to be fair, but it'd be a great watch.
Because they'll probably draw against each other.
I think one or both of Wigan and Warrington will be there. And then maybe Hull KR or a Salford might be up against them. But
yeah, I can't see past Wigan, Wire or Hull KR for.
Yeah.
Although didn't Warrington lose the day, so they could be. Coming into the end of their season, they could fold, capitulate.
It always happens.
Possible.
Warrington, they beat Saints, they beat Wigan, they've won the league. That's it. Season over. Hey lads, let's go on holiday. Oh, hang on a minute, Hull KR now.
It's funny because I was going into Warrington Town Centre at the time when my lad were doing a bit of shopping. It was late on, so you got the Lord. Is it the Lord Rodney and the. Put all the pubs under all outside, all shirts on and giving it lines. And as we pulled in a little bit further down, going to the range in Warrington, and as we're cutting on these back roads, all the old calf things are parked up. I said, they're parked up out of the way, out of view. Why, Dad?
If only they were still rubbish, you wouldn't have had that problem, would you?
No. That's it, because the Glazier might be having a good job over the weekend. I said,
the Glazier's been out with his bricks, I think, during the match. Well, okay, so another testing month for us coming up.
Which is good in a way, because I think it'll put them on the metal and, they won't drop the guard down. I'm not saying they win, but I think they'll put... And all you ask for is effort. Because a couple of those games, like we said, you look at it thinking, hang on, lads, what's happening here,
I don't think it's lack of effort. I think, as I said before, I think they try hard, they come off knackered, but they're just not...
The lack of quality.
The lack of tactical ability and nous, really, that causes the issue.
Lack of quality, I think, in certain areas.
It is.
It's lack of quality and stupidity. Sometimes there is stupidity. Just what are you doing?
Yeah, I think they should have a look at the CVs and see how many GCSEs they've got. Like, you see that person...
Lack of smarts, as in what's a good call.
Smarts, it's game now,
smarts, that's the word, Steve. I like that one.
But most of the lads have won 4 on the bounce, so they just need to use what they've learned or think about what's going on.
You've still got the nucleus of that strong team together, but the problem, I think, is it's growing old together.
Well, there is that.
And we need to kind of
not refreshed,
take that on board and refresh it.
I mean, sorry, we've not refreshed, but in a plan, we've had to refresh because of what's happened, injuries, etc. We've not had a rolling plan to refresh it, and we've given extended contracts to 30+ players, which is... You can argue whether you should be given loyalty or you should be being
2-year contracts to Lomax and to Walmsley, wasn't it? I think that's, considering what happened with Lachlan Coote.
No, he was forced out.
2 years ago. Wouldn't give him 2 years. And now they're giving 2 years to Lomax and Walmsley. So the philosophy's changed there somewhat.
I think I think somebody hasn't looked at the age range of the squad, because we've got a load of 30+s and a load of 21 minuses.
There's nothing in between.
There's nothing in between, I don't think.
See, it's all right saying we've got these youngsters coming through, and the lads who have come through, we've said they've done well, but if you remember last month, I was saying surely some of these should have been drip fed in a little bit better throughout the season.
I prefer that to see players getting fed in 1 or 2 at a time. I don't like it when he plays a full team of like academy or reserve players and we get beat by 30 points at Cass. I don't see what the point of that is. Really,
there's no point to that. Is there?
I don't get that. But 1 or 2, fed into a strong team, I think that helps them easier.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so another tough month. But before we go, I'd just like to mention the news of Josh Jones this week, diagnosed with brain injury. I think it's called chronic traumatic encephalopathy, which is basically injuries to the brain from constant physical.
Yeah, it's sad.
Very sad.
News.
31, and I don't think they come back. I don't think you come back from this. There's
31.
There's treatment you can have for it, but it doesn't lessen the effect of it. But our best wishes to Josh and his family. It's terrible.
I think invariably, it's sad to say, but invariably leads to dementia, doesn't it? CTE.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And when you're looking at that,
wish him all the best.
Yeah, and when you're looking at that, and you consider what position he was playing, because he played centre.
He was centre for a starting, wasn't he? Yeah.
And you're looking at Percival. Percival plays exactly the same sort of.
And he gets
take it up like a forward.
Smashed every week.
Yeah.
Because the way we play, we use our centres, as you know, we use our centres and wingers as battering rams in the early in tackle count, and they must take some right hammer. So you'd be concerned about their well-being. Percival has been taken out of the team a couple of times because he's had head concussion issues.
Well, Josh Jones was probably part of the teams that they never used to do that. He'd just stay on lads, you'll be fine, and lads, sort of thing. But he was always a physical player, wasn't he? In defence and attack. Obviously, I wish him all the best because he's fond memories of what he did for Saints and other teams as well.
Huddersfield and Salford, he was exactly the same effort, wasn't he?
Really good player. But it comes down to even like when we talk about this year, we've mentioned like the head injuries and the protocols that have come in, and it's still inconsistent. You've still got players who are getting their heads taken off and nothing's done. For instance, looking at the league game, our one and only try, Ben Davis goes down, he scores the try. Charnley did not have to go over the top of him. He wrapped his
smashed him,
wraps his arm round his head. Because Ben Davis has scored that try, nothing said. Because Saints have got 6 points on the board. But that for me, that should have been a sin binning. Because
It should have been an 8-point try.
It should have been an 8-point try. It should have been something, but nothing was mentioned. He didn't get pulled up in the disciplinary or match review panel, whatever you want to call it. So again, everyone can see that. You know,
I think we need to move to all or nothing on heads.
It's got to be. It has to be.
No mitigation, no nothing, and it'll soon sort players out.
Yeah.
For tackling,
because I mean that is a prime example. It only happened last week, but nothing said about that. But then someone later on in the game,
there are half a dozen incidents in every game you watch where there's a clear head one. Somebody gets sin-binned and somebody doesn't.
Yeah, we were saying before, it largely often comes down to, does that player stay down long enough for it to be reviewed? And if they do, and a card comes out. If they don't, the game carries on, and it gets forgotten about. It might get pulled up in the review on the Monday, and a ban might be handed out. But sometimes, like the Janley case, it doesn't.
No, but you could argue, well, if you're a player and you've got a knock round the head, then stay down, because you're then going to get a penalty. And do you know what I'd also like to see is, if you are trying to fudge a penalty, if you like. Then get a card the other way, but I don't know how they'd do that. I don't know how they'd.
It's hard to judge, isn't it? It's hard to judge what play acting is, especially in rugby where it's not.
Correct.
It's not really the done thing. The players aren't really,
and I can't believe we're saying this on a podcast about rugby league, that you want the players to stay down, because we're talking about football, that's what they do. But at the end of the day, what do you do?
Yeah,
because
unless they can be more consistent on the rule,
they've got to be consistent.
You've got to force their hand, haven't you?
Of course you do.
And if by going down,
the fans get up, everyone going mental, and then all of a sudden the referee's feeling a bit under pressure.
Because what they call it got, I suppose, he's taken out of context, Wilkins. A lot of these don't need taking out of context.
The John Wilkins show on the Friday, have you seen it?
but he was saying about somebody going down, and he basically they felt that he was having a dig for him going down. And he was saying, no, I'm not saying he should go down. What I'm saying is, in this day and age, it's probably better in some respects, because, like we've just been saying, you're then forcing the hand. But that rule should, for me, it shouldn't make any difference. It should be, if somebody saw that, all the games are being viewed. So if a referee's seen that off the camera, there's no reason why, certainly when there's on the next tackle, he can't say something.
Video ref could stop the game, couldn't he? He could just said, have a word in the earpiece or whatever.
Yeah.
Stop the game.
That happens in the NFL, doesn't it? Where
it does, and it happens in football now.
Yeah.
So that for me is one of the things.
Given, I think.
If everything in this game, from a refereeing point of view, from the laws, all we ever ask for is consistency, no matter what it is.
But sometimes the consistency is backing the referee up on decisions. There was a couple over the weekend where it was a clear try or wasn't a try, but the decision went to back the referee up. But
that's a problem with the rules, isn't it?
Again,
because if you can't find evidence that is totally convincing, you have to back what referee says. So essentially, he's asked, in the first place, he's asked to guess sometimes what he thinks it is.
Yeah.
And if you can't find any evidence to the contrary, then the call stands, and often that's not right.
But it shows,
as we saw when Whitney won the world title, by the way.
Yeah, it shows the communication though. So if he can simply say, you have to let this play go, but you're going back for a late or a head shot. He should do it.
Yeah.
And don't let it play on. Don't let it play on. Let the play stop. But go back.
Yeah, go back to it.
Yeah. I mean, if it means we don't leave the stadium till 5 to 10. Which is what's going to happen. But
tell you what,
now we've got the technology to do it. Do it.
But it does happen, doesn't it? If the referee sees it, and he might let player go on, and if there's no advantage, then it's right. So he's doing that in a way. So if the fact that somebody else sees it, that they say, look, you need to sort this maybe a die tackle or whatever out, then it's not something that's unusual and would be new. So it can be done.
Yeah, of course it can be done. It's like why can't you do forward passes when you can do offside? There's too many problems in our game that need sorting.
The amount of times I shout at referees, so there's some passes and you think, and there they go, you go, the laws of physics said there's no way that can be.
How can be that backwards or it's not even level?
Best one I saw first ever, it was Iku, I think, for Warrington. He was facing his home post and he passed it. And the pass did go backwards, But because he was facing his own post, obviously it went forwards. And I thought, do you know what? The amount of times I've seen that happen, and where players, their hands might would have done it, but because they're facing their own post,
the hands have gone forward.
Yeah. And so if from the shaping of the pass, of how you pass it, Salford are crazy for it, and very rarely get paid.
I think Steve-O used to call it the momentum rule.
If the player passing the ball carries on running, it's not a forward pass. Of course, it's a forward pass from when he passes it.
I just did think it depended what team was playing when Steve-O called the momentum rule.
Making it up.
And yet, if you drop it or you don't catch it, it's always a knock on.
Yes.
There was one in the Leeds game at the weekend. It went about 20 yards backwards.
Yeah.
And got called a knock on. When is it ever not a knock on if that's a knock on?
Yeah. It just should be, if you drop the ball, it's a knock on.
And then you watch Union, they're slapping it around, and there was a referee's going, "Man, nothing to see here." Hang on.
Don't see you.
All right, lads, we'll wind it up there for August. And
Have we not got any thoughts on recruitment? Have we done that bit, have we?
Oh, well, no, we can crack on. Yeah. I thought we decided we weren't doing any.
Probably won't do any, but just a few thoughts, that's all.
Crack on, yeah.
Well,
please.
I just think we need at least one centre, a winger, a half-back, and possibly a prop. That's quite a long list for one off-season, isn't it?
Have you got any names?
Oh, now then. Well, Sailor would kind of fill one gap there. But yeah, the other thing that fans don't consider when they talk about recruitment is we largely don't know who's available.
Yeah.
We think we can, like at the old days, we can go to another club and go, right, here's a few $100,000.
Yeah.
Can we have that player? We can't do that anymore.
No.
It's got to be an out-of-contract player who wants to come.
And it's the same thing, Steve, with asking for the coach's head. It's all right asking for the coach's head. Who are you going to get?
Who's coming in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's where I think we should strengthen.
Yeah.
I think
Have you got any other thoughts?
Well, we're going to. You have to have a look who's leaving. Dodd's going, Makinson's going, Metallica might be going.
Wonga Blake.
Conrad has two centres and a winger gone and a scrum half gone.
If we don't recruit a centre, I don't think I'd be totally comfortable with either Davis or Vaughan playing every week next year.
Davis's contract's up.
Is it?
As is Royals' contract. So I think I said last month that if we re-sign them two players, for me, that's our next sort of 5-year plan. And that, for me, that's not... I like them, the local lads, but they're not... They're not our starting centres. They're not us, and that's going to be our battle plan for the next 5 years. If we re-sign them two players,
well, I think you're right. I think if Davis goes, Saints Twitter will explode because he's not popular, is he? Every time he gets picked, he gets slated.
He's obviously trying his hardest.
Because they want him to be. They want him to be something that he's not. He's not a superstar. He's never going to be a superstar.
Yeah,
but he's a good squad player.
Yeah.
But we've always wanted centres for about the last 4 years, haven't we? And we've ended up with Connie Hull, who came in to be a part-time second row originally and ended up as first choice centre.
First choice.
And Percy was out for God knows how long. Wonga Blake came in, who was a winger/centre, who's never really got any games at centre. And when he plays at centre, he might as well put a turnstile there. And after that, we're down to kids.
But like Davis reminds me a bit of like a Christine that used to play. And he went... Davis will have a very, very good career with somebody like Widnes. You know, if he took like Christine's sort of path, if you like. But we just, again, we said at the beginning of the show, we just do not, as fans, we've not got any idea of what's going on. And like you just said then, Steve, you're probably 5, at least, centre, second row, well, not second row, sorry, centre, halfback,
winger.
Prop, winger, I'd say 2 props.
I think prop, certainly because I don't think Worms is going to play a full season ever again.
No.
So you've only got 2 young lads there in Stevens and Delaney, really, and then after that, it's just your top line prop is Lees.
Well, that's a frightening thing as fans.
He's decent, but he's not a wrecking ball, is he?
There's no rumours.
No.
There's one rumour about Tristan. That's it. And obviously our...
Lachlan Lamb was mentioned as well at
that's
certain points.
That's who I was just going to bring in, because apparently in the next few days it's going to be announced where he's going to move to. So, do you know what? That wouldn't surprise me at all.
If he came to Saints?
At all.
Well... He's got pace. He's got pace. He's got a kicking game.
He's better than what we've got.
I just don't like his dad.
No, he's not bringing his dad.
He might be nice. Yeah. He might be a nice lad.
He might be a nice lad.
He might get into Martin at half-back at the moment, Adrian.
Mrs. Lamb are getting up.
Mrs. Lamb. We've got problems. We've got some problems.
We need to start
because we can't just simply go put these reserve lads straight in.
No,
you can't put 6 lads from your reserves into your squad and hope to do anything next year.
But again, we can't get to the end of the season and then suddenly decide to do all our business when all the other teams have got the players who they want. We already know
your business is done.
That who's going where and what's happening, and then all of a sudden Saints, again, said it before, sign Wonga Blake, and everyone's like, who's he?
Yeah, exactly.
And then I'm still saying, who's he? What's he doing in a Saints shirt?
I mean, would we be saying the same about Tristan Saylor if his dad wasn't who he was?
Well,
Sheridan as well.
His dad Wendy?
Wendell Saylor,
yeah.
I've heard mixed reviews. I've heard he's good prospects, but not quite there. So you
got
never
pace.
know.
Give him that.
He could be like a Jackson Hastings, couldn't he? Could come over and absolutely fly. But then he'll only be 2 seasons, and then he'll be back.
He'll be getting our own contract.
But the thing is, Steve, about pace, I agree with you. But if you don't play a game where you open up that pace, then I think Ritzen's the classic. Then how many times? He did this when he's playing for Barra and the Championship. He's never had a sniff. I've never.
He's never had a pass. Never mind a
Well,
sniff.
it's because we come back inside all the time.
Yeah.
That's why.
That's the other thing about it. Playing on the wing for Saints is a pretty thankless task.
Oh yeah.
You don't get much ball. When you do get the ball, it's usually your own quarter with 3 prop forwards running your head.
Yep. And if you get the ball on attack, you're normally on the line.
Yeah.
Because there's no space being made inside. It beggars belief. Yeah.
We all know that there's money there to sign players. With the players that we've got coming to an end of a contract or leaving us, and also this stat that keeps on coming up that Sky, maybe there's no truth in that, and we are spending more, but when we're on the level of like Huddersfield and Salford and teams like that,
if the traditional heavyweights, let's say, are above us in that regard, we can't hope to bridge that gap, really.
Of course can't. No.
I mean, the answer has been to bring our own through, and it's worked to a certain extent.
To an extent.
But yeah, I mean, you look at,
for me, it's too heavy.
But you look at Warrington's squad and to a certain extent Leeds' squad, and you think, blimey, they've got some players on the roster there. How do they do that?
But look at Wigan.
Wigan
this season. Wigan this season have got 2 teams, and they've been able to play the first team, win some big games. But then they've been able to just filter them young lads like Ecclesley, like we said, just filter them through and give them a sniff of what it's like to be in the first team around a winning culture.
Yeah.
We've not done that. We've not filtered the kids in when we should have against London or the lesser teams.
Arguably, we should have been filtering the kids in when we were winning 4 in a row.
Possibly, yeah.
And it's different for them being brought in a situation like now where they're needed. It's a crisis.
Suddenly it's on their shoulders.
Then if we're playing well, and the mistakes maybe aren't magnified so much.
Well, hopefully next month we'll have some rumours.
Or we'll make some.
Fingers crossed.
We'll make
Should we start some rumours now?
There'll always be rumours.
Steve, get on X and Twitter and make some rumours, and we'll discuss them next time.
I would rumour.
We'll take your point. Well, recruitment's always a question, but we've no answers, have we?
No.
We know what we want, but we can't get it. So, any other business, lads? Then?
Yeah, just one thing. It's a bit of a sad thing, really. Is obviously the passing of Bill Arthur. Which was, was a shot on. I knew he hadn't been well for a long time with prostate cancer, but he obviously the other guys and the way things had changed with Sky. He certainly. I thought, had they just not given him as much commentary as he used to?
Yeah, I noticed that because they brought I just thought it was a thing of bringing all the lads in because of all the games being commentated on. But
I thought it was because they just brought new people in, like Dave Woods and that, and Matt Wilson.
But it's a noticeable miss because love him or hate him, he was one of the voices of our game, wasn't he?
Yeah, and you know the stuff that he's done from a community point of view. There's a club called Bassantwerp Bulldogs, which is from Nottingham, which apparently they went over to Catalan for a Catalan game. Forget who Catalan were playing, but the lads had gone over. Obviously, the old Jolly Day House and what have you, and they bumped into him and got talking to him and what have you. And he said, "Oh, we'll get you on the pitch at the beginning," and they'd asked him would he'd come down and support because they knew he lived around where he was. And that was about 15 years ago, and he supported him to the hilt. Absolutely did loads of them. And, you know, you've got to take your hat off to somebody like that. He's supporting it, right? You know, he could have even turned around and said, oh, here you are, blah, 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 off you go. And you know, think nothing of it after that. Yeah. But he didn't. And, you know, he wasn't told in the bigger scheme of things. And it is sad. So condolences to all his family and friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so we'll be back in 4 weeks' time. I wonder what mood we'll be in 4 weeks' time, lads. It might be... we'll leave it to Adrian.
So what is it? Salford, Wigan, Hull KR and...
before we meet again, it's Salford, Wigan, Hull KR, Huddersfield away and possibly Wyre away.
Oh, Huddersfield away, win that, won't we?
We should win
that.
maybe.
They're diabolical, aren't they? They're really bad.
Well, they were good up against Wigan for 50 minutes.
For half a game they were, yeah. Then they got overwhelmed, didn't they? But,
well, I've already been Huddersfield once this season, so...
Well, that was a good one. Before, that was a really good win.
I might miss the other one.
Yeah.
Stupid Luke fixtures.
That is a tough month, though, isn't it?
It is another tough month, yeah.
Last time I went to Huddersfield, it was the last of the summer wine tour.
Nothing much has changed.
Last time we went, they run out of hot drink for you. I queued up for 20 minutes.
They had a Premier League football ground at the time, but they had no hot water at half time.
Unbelievable.
Can't sell you a brew, lads, no hot water.
Freezing cold. You want a beer? No, you don't want a beer.
Apparently, the tougher ones don't need hot water in Huddersfield.
If you have enough beer, it'll warm you up eventually.
Eventually, you'll forget you're cold. Yeah, one of the two. Yeah.
Saying that in the depths of summer, that stand they've got is always freezing. Yes. Oh, absolutely, ice cold.
What time of year we went? February.
It was February though.
Early in the season, wasn't it?
Cold. Yeah, it was a cold one. I was amazed the game was on. To be honest, it was that cold.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll be back in a month, and hopefully we'll be in a better mood. So we'll see you then. Thanks to Steve, Darren, and Steve again.
Thank you very much.
See you lads.
Cheers.
Come on, my son, in at the corner. Tommy Martin, thank you very much. Lick 'em and stick 'em. Oh, he's going to the screen. What's he going for? Dear me, he's trying to keep the score down.